This story is about the mummy of the king Tut. If you read the lesson, my explanation will be easily understandable by you. In Egyptian dynasty, when the king dies, they believe that whatever belonged to them, that had to be buried along with them. He was the youngest king, but he lived for a very short time. Hello students and welcome to Prep School English classes. Today's session is Chapter 3 from your snapshot textbook. The lesson title Discovering Tut, the saga continues. Sounds interesting, sounds mysterious, sounds adventurous, isn't it? So what do you mean when I say discovering Tut? Tut is a name of a person who is no more. He is dead and some discovery has happened behind his death. And when I say the saga continues, that means the story continues. So this is where science has made a difference pertaining to the culture and the heritage of ancient life. So let's see what is the lesson Discovering Tut, the saga continues all about. I will be discussing today the author of the lesson, what is the title and the theme, what is the significance, and is there a moral in the lesson? Who are the characters in this lesson? What are the words in context and the expressions pertaining to your textbook, and a short summary, a story about what is the lesson, and then what are the expected questions and how do we conclude about this lesson. With this, let me take you forward to understand who is the author of this lesson. The author A.R. Williams. There is something very special about him. The speciality is that when he was a little child, his interest towards writing stories, essays, articles led him to be a big-time author. So, love for reading at a very young age is something very special about him. Now, if you would want to know more about him, it's worth reading his biography, which talks about his journey towards being an author. So, what is that he tells us about? He tells us about a mummy. He tells us about a tomb in Egypt, in ancient. It is about 3300 BC. It was in the 18th dynasty. It's about the king who had a mysterious life and then how the modern world wants to discover it. So with this, before I take you to the lesson, let me tell you a small difference between this word. When I say mummy, what is mummy? Mummy is nothing other than our own mother, our own mom, our mother, isn't it? We call her ma, we call her mummy, we call her mom, isn't it? But there is something called as the mummy too. There is something called as the mummy. Now what is the mummy? Will you ever tell me she is the mummy of Kushi ma'am? No, you will say she is the mother of Kushi ma'am. Now this the mummy is referred to mummification. When I say mummification, a most wanted person, a rich king, or in ancient times, when they were dead, their body had to be preserved. You know what is decomposition, isn't it? How does a body decompose? With all bacteria, it gets decomposed. So they did not want that to happen. So to protect it, to preserve the body, a process of mummification happens, and that body is called as the mummy, and you get to see that in Egyptian countries. So how does that happen? All the internal organs is taken away and then it goes through a few days of processing for the body to be preserved. So here we are talking about the mummy of a king called Tut. Okay, for a mummy. So here we are talking about a very ancient famous king of the 18th dynasty belonging to the 3300 BC back. So ancient, and his tomb was discovered in the ancient King Valley in Egypt. So this story is about the mummy of the King Tut. So let's have an overview of the lesson. When I tell you overview, we'll just see what is the theme, what's the story, what is the conclusion, or what is the message, what is the central idea of the story. So what is the story all about? The story deals with mysterious and various theories regarding life and death of an Egyptian ruler. Egyptian ruler here is who? King Tut. Okay, so the story revolves about his death and about his life. What is the mystery behind it? He was a very young king and he lived for a very short period, and he was the last heir, he was the last successor of that Egyptian dynasty then. So the story deals about that Egyptian ruler. The story deals about his life and death. So that being the story, let's see what is the theme of the lesson. Now the story revolves around the description of an exploration conducted by a team of researchers. So to say, the theme of the lesson is, in this modern life, there is a team of researchers who have researched the death, who have researched the life of this Egyptian ruler. So the theme is about the description of the exploration conducted by a team of researchers. So that being the story and the theme, let's look at what is the central idea about the lesson. Now when the research is happening, there's a lot of struggle. There's a lot of struggle that the researchers have gone through. So that is the central idea. What was the task? What was the difficulties that they face? The struggle that the team faces to unravel the mystery behind the death of the ruler, to open up, to unravel the mystery behind this young king. So the central idea of this lesson is that. Next, what is the message? Finally, after getting to know the story, what is the message that you and me got out of it? It says that science is helping in the course of culture. The modern technology, the modern scientific world where we live in, it is helping us to understand the world back then, the ancient life. Remember, BC, 3300 BC, the 18th dynasty. If you can get to know what is happening there with the modern scientific technology, that means to say that it is a part to help us out with a course of our own culture. So that being the message, let's move forward to understand who are the characters of the lesson. Now, the characters might be a little confusing, but you will never have a question on a character sketch here. You need to just understand the main character, the name of the king. After that, you can just neglect the other characters. So, who are the characters in this lesson? The first one being King Tut. He is the protagonist. It is his story. It is his death, the mystery behind his death. His lifestyle during then is what has been discovered. So who is this king? He is the last head of a powerful family that ruled Egypt for decades together. For decades together, the dynasty was ruled by a particular powerful family. All right? So this King Tut was the last heir of the powerful family. So that being about him, let's look at who is this. He is Howard Carter. Howard Carter is a Britisher. He is a British archaeologist. He is a British archaeologist. He becomes an important person in this lesson only because of him. Only because of his discovery, all of us have got to know, or this King Tut himself has become very, very popular, very, very famous from 1922. From 1922 till now. 1922 was when Howard Carter discovered this king's tomb in Egypt, in the ancient valley of the kings. Okay, so from then he is also become very popular for his discovery, and then King Tut became well known to all of us. In the sense, we got to know that some king like this has existed. So the next one being Zahi Awaz. Zahi Awaz is the Secretary General of the Egypt Supreme Council of Antiquities. Okay, nothing much he has to say. He was a little disturbed when Howard Carter discovered the tomb, and then he wanted to, open up the tomb, and then he wanted to investigate the mummy of King Tut. So this was not okay with Zahi Hawass, because he always felt that Howard has damaged a lot of the mummy. Next, the next one being Amenhotep III. Amenhotep III. It is the family of who belong to the family of King Tut. It is the father, or it is also the grandfather. They were the powerful rulers for 4 decades. Now these names become very difficult to pronounce. These names become very difficult to remember. But just think that Amenhotep III was the father or the grandfather to King Tut. They were also from the powerful family. They were the rulers during that 18th dynasty. And the last one being, that is Amenhotep IV. So after that only King Tut came in. Now Amenhotep IV. So about him, if you have to know, he promoted the worship of Aten. Aten is a god. Okay, and he changed the name to Akhenaten. He changed his name to Akhenaten. He outraged the country by attacking Amun. Amun is the major god. So you outraged. He went out of the way by attacking that god. How did he attack that god? He started demolishing. He started smashing his images and closing all temples. So after him, King Tut came, who lived for a very short time. So these are few of the characters. All the characters are not important. Character Howard, you need to know about him, and then you need to know about King Tut. With this, let me take you forward to the words in context. Now, before I move into the summary, children, it is important that you can pause me for a while here and then open your text and read the lesson. The lesson is about 5 to 6 pages. If you read the lesson, my explanation will be easily understandable by you. Because you see, I've always told you, I can't take line to line explanation. I can't split the words to words and then explain, isn't it? So probably if you read the lesson and then sit for this class, to see what is a summary, it will be helpful for you. Coming back to the words in context, what is that I always tell you? These are few unfamiliar words. It could be familiar for you, I'm happy, but what is that you need to do? You have to connect these words to the context and understand the lesson, okay? So to start with, I have picked up only few. See here, laden. Laden means it is loaded, okay? The king's body was laden with gold. It was loaded with gold. Speculated. It is a form of a theory with evidence. Then wailing, to cover something. Wailing, to cover something. Glided is a continuous motion. And then lingering is long lasting. These words are quite familiar, but still have a look at it. Murals. Murals are the drawings, a special kind of drawing during the empires or the dynasty. They have a special kind of culture and tradition, isn't it? That is their heritage. So mural is a kind of drawing on the wall. Then ransacked means what? Raided. Ransacked means raided. Moving forward, antiquity means something which is an old one, a old object. And resurrection means restoration to life. Resurrection is restoration to life. Adorn means decorated. The goddess is adorned with a lot of jewels. That means she is decorated with a lot of jewels and flowers. Legitimate. Legitimate means reasonable. Blazing means very hot. Amulet. Amulet is a kind of a ornament. And last one is pallbearers. Person who escorts a coffin. Person who escorts a coffin is what? Pallbearers. So just have a look at few of the words in context. So these were few of the unfamiliar words which will be useful for you if you get to know the meaning while you read the textbook. Moving forward, let's see a few of the expressions in the textbook that you need to understand. The first one being forensic reconstruction. Now you have a skeleton, you have a skull. You want to see how the face of that owner of that skull looks like. So that is forensic construction. Process of creating a face on the skull to see how the owner of the skull looks like. Here it refers to the King Tut after a CT scan. Can you imagine? After a CT scan of the skull, modern science has made a face for that skull and it shows us King Tut looks like this. Okay, that is forensic construction. Going to the next one, scudded across. Scudded across. What is that? The phrase is used to refer to the movement of the dark bellied clouds that move quickly. Okay, so when they wanted to discover what is there in the tomb, when they tried to open it up, then what happened? Bellied clouds scudded. Bellied cloud scudded across. You see it in your lesson. Next one being casket grave. So what is a casket? Casket or a jewel box you can think of. What is a casket? It is a jewel box. Now covering of the stars by dark bellied clouds. You have a clear sky. The stars are covered by dark clouds. That means to say that what is happening is not a good sign. So this expression you see in the lesson when Howard Carter wanted to open up the tomb for the discovery. So refers to the way the jewels are kept inside the jewel box. You're trying to open it, it is not going well. So the expression refers to the casket grey sky. The next one is resurrection. Resurrection refers to the beginning of something which was very old and forgotten. Okay, you have something which is very old and it is forgotten, but then you start with it. Means you start discovering it, you start talking about it, you start thinking about it. So that is resurrection. That is refers to the beginning of something that has been forgotten and that was very, very old. Moving forward to the next one is funerary treasures. Now when I say funerary treasures, these treasures were buried along with a dead king which were made of pure gold. In ancient times, in Egyptian dynasty, when the king dies, they believe that whatever belonged to them, that had to be buried along with them. Okay, so those were called as the funerary treasures. Next one is circumvented. So what is circumvented? Thieves who easily bypass the guards to rip the mummy apart to remove gold. So where do you get to see this word in the lesson? It is when the tomb had to be opened and then the archaeological department realizes that looking at the treasures in it, the thieves, they might circumvented the people. The thieves might circumvented means bypass the guards and go to steal. So that is circumvented. Going to the next one, computed tomography. That is nothing but a CT scan which you hear in the modern technology. CT scan provides the X-ray image of a body. Ma'am, but why are you talking about the CT scan when you're talking about a story that happened in the 18th dynasty? That was in 3300 BC then. That is the mystery. That is the interest. That is the adventure here, that the mummy of King Tut in the year 2005, they have taken it for a CT scan. Can you believe this? Yes. So that is computed tomography. Then eerie details means uncanny description. It is a uncanny description. So these were few of the expressions of the textbook lesson. Moving forward, let's understand what is Discovering Tut all about. I told you, Discovering Tut, the saga continues. That means Tut is a dead ancient king. His death has been a mystery because he was the last successor of the dynasty, and then he lived for a very short period. He was the youngest king. He was around, I think, 18 to 19 years. He didn't live for a long time. So how did he die? How did he die? So that was the discovery which started in the year 1922, and then it concluded to say that yes, he was a king who looked like this and everything was fine. And then when I say the saga continues, that means the story continues. So if you ask me now, ma'am, what happened to the mummy of the king? Now what has happened? It is there in the museum, and all of us, like tourists, when we go to Egypt, we buy some tickets, go and see King Tut and come back. So that is the story. That is how it is ended. So when you look at the lesson, when you read it out, it might not interest you so much, probably, but if I divide the lesson into few parts, into few subtopics, that will be easier for you to understand. But still, before getting into it, I told you today, earlier in my previous slide, please read the lesson and sit for this class. You can pause me here, open your textbook, read the lesson. It's around 4 to 5 pages. Understand what is there and you relate to this. So I will be giving you a small introduction about the lesson, and then how did the King Tut, how did he die? After that, who were his ancestors? Who were his ancestors? Not much importance, but still I will show you a family tree. And then who was this Howard Carter? Why is he so famous? Why did he become so popular? What were his findings? Okay, what is the discovery that he did? And then the mummy of King Tut. The mummy of King Tut. What is so special about the mummy of King Tut? Since it is open now, what do we get to see? And then chiseling of King Tut's mummy. Chiseling means what? What is a chisel? It is a hand equipment. It is a hand tool to cut something. So why was the mummy of King Tut being chiseled? So that you can get to see. And then the mummy is X-ray. There is an X-ray taken about the mummy to see whether everything is fine. All bones are there. Can you believe it? So what is it about? And then it goes for a CT scan. The whole mummy is being shifted from the place, from the tomb. It is taken for a CT scan. So that happened, I think, in 2005, if I'm not wrong. So you'll get to see about it. And then I will just conclude the lesson with a message. What did we learn out of this lesson? So this way, I have divided your lesson to make it easy for you to understand. But once again, I would have missed out certain things. So you can get it while you read the lesson. So with this, let me take you forward to the summary of the lesson. So let me start with an introduction. Have a look at this. Who is this? He is King Tut. The lesson is about his tomb, his discovery, the mummy of this king. So what is his full name? He is Tutankhamun. Now, he belongs to the 18th dynasty. He was the last heir of the most powerful king during that dynasty. He was the youngest king, but he lived for a very short time. The lesson says he was around 18 to 19 years, but it didn't last for a very long time. And how did he die? what is the mystery behind his death is the lesson all about. Now, he is known as an image to God. His name is related to the image to God because Ammon means a god. Ammon means a god. And since they had fought against God, they had crashed, they had demolished all the temples, their name ended with this name to say that they themselves were the god, they themselves were the image of God. So Tutankhamun is the king who lived in the 18th dynasty. He was known as a Pharaoh king. Now, Pharaoh means a royal palace. These people were so powerful that they lived in the ancient valley kings. Okay, so they were called as Tutankhamun is a pharaoh. So what is it? What is the introduction? How does the lesson start? The lesson is about the mysteries and various theory regarding the life and regarding the death of King Tut. So he was the youngest ruler. He was the youngest ruler in ancient times. And what is his full name? It was Tutankhamun. Now, investigations answered a lot of questions. While investigation was happening, it answered a lot of questions. Probably none of us knew what is a mummy, how does a mummy look, what is there buried along with the mummy. We never knew. But the investigation actually answered a lot of questions. Now, it offered new clues on his life and his death. Of course, there was few facts, few clues about his life and his death. So, we are talking about the mummy, the discovery of the mummy of King Tut. So, moving forward, who is this king? How did he die? What is his life all about? So, we will call him King Tut, and he is the youngest ruler. I told you he is the youngest and is the last ruler of the Egyptian rulers who ruled the country, who ruled the dynasty for decades together. After him, there were no successors at all. So, what is it about this king? So, he died as a teenager. He died as a teenager. Now, Pharaoh, how do you pronounce it? You pronounce it as Pharaoh. Pharaoh is something related to a royal palace. They are all royal people. They lived in ancient King Valley in Egypt. So, he is the last heir. Heir means what? The successor. Heir of the powerful family that ruled Egypt and the empire for a lot of decades. Okay, so he was the last powerful king. Now he was buried laden. What did I tell you laden? He was loaded. So he was buried with a lot of gold and he had been forgotten for years, for ages. Okay, so he was forgotten. He was buried and he was not known at all until 1922. In 1922, everything came up. So let's see what happened. I will stop that there. Now going forward, let's understand his ancestors. Okay. Now we don't have to by heart or write down anything. I have just given a family tree which shows his grandfather Amenhotep III, followed by Amenhotep III. So this is his father and this is King Tutankhamun. All right, and then they have shown his mother Kia. He also had a grandmother Tai. There was also wife called what is this, Amenesa, some name is their children, I can't pronounce. So there is this wife and then there is all this he didn't have children. He gave birth to, I think, still babies. That's what the story says. So I've just put a family tree to make my lesson appealing. You don't have to really study this. So when you look at the ancestor, there is a paragraph given in your textbook too for you to read. Amenhotep III was the father and the grandfather. Both they have mentioned. They were powerful rulers for nearly 4 decades. And then Amenhotep IV was the successor. Now they worship sun disk. Sun disk in the sense any idol which showed like a sun. So and attacked major god, Ammon. So major god was attacked, moved to the religious capital and changed their name from Ammoniten. Okay, they changed their name from Amenhotep to Ammoniten. That's why Ammon came in the end of their names. So this is about King Tut's family. This is about King Tut's ancestors. Now moving forward, the most important guy in this lesson, the most important character is an archaeologist, the British archaeologist. What was his name? It was Howard. So, Howard Carter, we get to know about him. He became very, very popular in the present times. Why? Because he was the one in 1922 that it discovered in the ancient King Valley in Egypt, it discovered this tomb, the tomb of this mummy, King Tut. Okay, so what is about Howard Carter? So, who is he? He is a British archaeologist. Now, in 1922, he discovered King Tut's tomb. And after a very long time, it was a forgotten, we didn't even know about it. So after a very long time of deep searching, he discovered King Tut's tomb. So he was very curious to know, how did King Tut have such a short lifespan? How did he die? What is the mystery behind his death? So he was very, very curious to know. There is some uncertainty that King Tut has died. So let us discover. So, being a part of the National Geography, they wanted to pull out the tomb, pull out the mummy of King Tut, and then discover what is the story behind it. So, he investigated its content. So, he investigated what is it about King Tut. So, moving forward, what were his findings? What did he find? Of course, he found the tomb. After that, he opened the tomb. What did he find? What is that? What were the findings? So, he found Tut's mummy. I told you what is a mummy, I have told you, right? So, Tut's mummy was found. Okay, so what is this? This is the coffin. So, inside the coffin, you see the body. This is the body. Okay, now it is wrapped. Now it is wrapped with all these are like the golden bandage. So everything is made of gold, including the coffin is made of gold. And whatever you see here is all very, very precious. I told you it was a legacy that once the king died, they truly believed that whatever wealth they had, it had to be buried. So, can you imagine Tut's coffin was completely made of solid gold, and when Howard and team tried to open it up, they could find Tut's mummy inside, buried inside with complete treasures. What an exciting sight it could be, isn't it? So, what were the findings? Its content remains the richest in the world. Even today, whatever they have found, that is the richest thing that any individual could have had ever in his lifetime. So, dazing works of art in gold, everything, whatever those mural works, I told you, painting, everything was made out of gold. He was buried with everyday things, whatever he wanted, everyday's eatings, plate, even razors, his games, board games. He was buried with all his things. That means they believe that after they die, they are with God. They are God themselves. They need things to live. Okay, so they saw board games, they saw a bronze razor, they saw cases of food, lots of food was there, clothes, wine, etc. Why were all this kept? That was because that was what is required for him to live a life after his death. This is what they believed. So these were few of the findings from Howard. Moving forward, the coffins. Let's look at the coffins. Howard got to see three kinds of coffin inside coffin. So inside was completely with solid gold. Outside it was all with garland, flowers, dry fruits, and then with wooden carving. A lot of things were there. Detailed things you need to read the textbook. So there were three nested coffins. What is nested? One inside the other. Okay, so you see this three nested coffin. Everything is made of what, children? Gold. Okay, and the innermost was made of solid gold, just like we have the walls in our houses. It was that thick gold. The coffins were completely made of solid golds. So this is an important question for you all. It will come asking that how did Tut's coffin look? So what did he find? He found that Tut's body was in three nested coffins. First one, a shroud decorated with garlands of willow, olive leaves, celery, lotus petals, and cornflowers. Now, shroud is what I told you, that bandage where the mummy is being banded, that you call it as a shawl. That is also made out of gold. Now, looking at all this, it indicated for Howard that the burial, his funeral, his death has happened during the month of March and April. So that one they got to know. Then the outer two were crafted with wood and covered with gold. So all the crafting was with wood, but it was covered with gold. Mummy, which was inside, he had a trouble. So what do you think the trouble was? During that time, when the mummy had to be preserved, they had, kept it in melted resin. Resin here, resin. Resin here is the glue. Okay, so they had melted the glue and they had placed the mummy. Now, how will Howard ever pull it out? Isn't it? It is completely stuck there. How will we take it out? So there he had a actual problem. So let's see what are the adornments. So I told you, when you go to a temple, you get to see God, right? When you see the idol of the God, it is decorated. It has its own lots of adornment, lots of jewels, lots of flowers, isn't it? So what is the adornment of this mummy? Let's look at it. So he was very, very rich, and everything what was decorated on him were gold. Everything, to his necklace, to his headgear, whatever he had, everything was in gold. So what do you get to see? Stunning gold objects. Everything that you saw inside that tomb was in gold. So you see here, they were with precious collars. The collars were also of gold and precious stone. Inlaid necklace, bracelets were also of gold. Rings and amulet, whatever you wear here, and all the rings, that was also of gold. And all things which was there for afterlife. Afterlife means what? He gets associated with God. So everything that needed for an afterlife to live with God, that is also, everything was in gold. And board games, linen, undergarments, cases of food and drink, everything was made out of gold. So these were the adornment which Howard and with his team could get to see. So moving forward to the interior, the tomb's interior. Now you see, this is the interior of the tomb. Actually, when you go to see there, this is how it looks. You see the mural painting and how long it is, and you see everything is made out of gold. So when you look at it, you see rock cut. The rock is cut. It is a rock cut tomb. It is around 25 feet. It is around 25 feet underground, and it is lined with murals on the walls of the burial ground. Now you see everything is made of mural painting. And then the outer coffin lid. The outer coffin lid is mummy shaped. It looks like a body itself, and the top cover glittered with a face of the king, and the top cover was with a face of the king. So this is how the interior of the tomb actually looked. Now moving forward, chiseling out. There is a part where Howard had to chisel the mummy. Can you imagine the guts? Okay, the team, the archaeological team with Howard's people, they had to chisel out the mummy because they had to bring it out. It is stuck below, 25 feet below the tomb. It is stuck. The mummy is there. Now they have to bring it out. So look at this. The hardened resin. So whatever you see, around it, okay, whatever you see, I told you, resin is a glue which sticks like a gum. All right. So that was melted, and then that was a layer on which the mummy was placed. So it is stuck there. You can't move it. So Howard had a problem there to bring this out. And where was it? It was 25 feet inside, isn't it? So he had a problem there to bring it out. Now the royals in Tut's time, what did they believe? They believed that their fortune, whatever fortune that person had, that king had, when he died, I told you, it had to be buried during his death. That belonged to him. So he was buried with all his belongings. So with all the belongings he had buried, and to look at everything, to go into it and bring everything out, Howard had a problem. So further to continue, we will see why was it chiseled. So part by part, he had to chisel it, and then he had to bring the body out, and then it was rearranged once again. So the mummy was put in the sun. How did the chiseling start? The mummy was put in the sun to 149 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, to that heat, the mummy was exposed. Why? Because the resins had to melt. Okay, to separate the king from his ornaments, Carter's men had to cut off the major joint. The major joints of the body, they had to cut it, and then they had to bring it separately. Later, they reassembled it on a layer of sand, and then they put it back in a wooden box which was padded. So what did they do? Howard had a problem to bring out the mummy from the tomb beneath 25 feet. So he had to expose it to how many degree Fahrenheit of sun heat? It is 149 degree. And then once it started a little melting, after that what did he do? He tried to cut it. He chiseled it out, and part by part he brought it out. After that it was again reassembled and put it in a wooden coffin. So what did I tell you? Howard had a problem when he reached beneath. When he saw the mummy, he could not bring it out. He was 25 feet inside, but they could not bring it in because it was stuck. The resin had hardened. So that's why it was exposed to sunlight, and after that, to bring it out, he had to cut it and brought it part by part, and then later on, he joined them. He put them together in a layer of sand and then kept it back in the coffin. So that is about chiseling part. Moving forward, the X-ray. Now, once everything was put back, they had to take an X-ray to see if anything was missing. So what happened? In 1968, after 40 years, that was in 1922, that they discovered that the tomb of Tut was there. So in 1968, more than 40 years of Howard's discovery, an anatomy professor X-rayed the mummy. An anatomy professor, a learned man, he X-rayed the mummy. Now, the archaeology department focused less on the treasures. They were not bothered about what was the treasures there. They focused less on the treasures, but they wanted to know the facts. Okay, so they found that the breastbones and the ribs were missing. Now, what did they find? They found that the breastbone and few ribs were missing. So they blamed Howard because maybe during whatever he did, during that dismantling of that mummy, something has missed. So this was what the X-ray could detect. So moving forward, Tut's demise was a big event. We need to understand that the death back then in the 18th dynasty, King Tut dying, that was a big event for them, for the people who lived then. As royal standards, that's because he belonged to the royal family, isn't it? So that was a very big event that, oh, the king is dead, so what are we going to do with him? So as he was the last ruler of the family, since he did not have any more children to succeed him, That also became a major issue. So his funeral meant the end of the royal dynasty. But his facts of the death and his consequences are unclear. So, how did he die? Nobody bothered to know. Oh, the king is dead. There's nobody else to rule the kingdom anymore. That was a major thing for them. That became a major event. What are we going to do with this demise? What are we going to do with the corpse of this king now? How are we going to preserve it? What are we going to do? We don't have anybody after that. So that became a major event back then. So then that was a part of your lesson. Now let's get back after the X-ray. There was a CT scan. There was a CT scan done for the mummy. Now for the part, for the skeleton, for the tooth's body, there was a CT scan done. So it was back put in a coffin and it was brought to the CT scan center. So what happens there? Tooth's mummy was the first kind to be CT scanned. None of us have heard at all. It was such a big news back then, I think in 2005, that the first mummy kind was taken for a CT scan. Workmen carried it from the tomb. From the tomb, the workmen carried it, used an hydronic lift. It's a kind of lift because it's a heavy thing. They carried it, after which the body was returned to the coffin to rest in peace. Now, after the X-ray, after the CT scan, after that, it was brought back to the coffin. It was brought back to the coffin, and then the body was allowed to rest in peace after all the finding. So what happened? What happened in the CT scan? There's a picture here which I took it from the Google itself. I told you can have a lot of pictures, lot of short videos about it. Have a look at it if it really interests you. So it goes to the CT scan. You heard about the CT scan, isn't it? We get to know detail about that particular thing which is gone for a scan. So what happened? The CT scan showed an astonishing image of the king. They were able to figure out how the king looked. Looking at the skull, they were able to do the face, the structure of the king. Scanned the body clearly. It clearly scanned the body. It says it had a gray head, neck vertebrate. Okay, the neck or the vertebrate, a hand with several images of rib cage and a section of the skull. So the CT scan was able to clearly show all this. So moving forward, how do we end? How did the lesson end? It said that he is God of afterlife. Okay, the people considered him as God of afterlife. So who is the God? Just like we have few gods, we name them. The god of Egypt then was Osiris. So Osiris was the god, and King Tut, after he died, he was afterlife of this god. So Zahi Awas, he was from the archaeological department. He relieved that nothing had seriously gone wrong. There was nothing wrong in the death of King Tut. Everything looked seemingly well and natural. So, as the technicians left the trailer, they saw a star constellation. While the whole procedure, what happened while they were moving out, they see a star constellation right above the sky. So what did they depict that to? That was the soul of Osiris. It was the soul of this god. And they related that King Tut was Osiris itself. So Osiris, the god of afterlife, god of the afterlife. So King Tut belonged to this god. Felt God was watching over the body of King Tut. They felt that God was watching over the life, the body of King Tut, and King Tut was the afterlife of Osiris. So this is how the lesson ended, and then the investigation and the studies brought to us to say that there was nothing wrong with the death. There was no mystery behind the death of King Tut. With that, let's see how do we conclude. What is that we learn from the conclusion of this story? What does it tell us? It tells us that modern technology answers a lot of questions, isn't it? Okay, we are in such a modernized world. Okay, we are in such a modernized, developed world that it answers us all our queries. And then it brings out a lot of facts. A lot of facts is brought out by science. It opens up various theories. When you get to know some fact, it opens up some other theory. You elaborate it, you go ahead to learn more about it. And then science does help in safeguarding the heritage. Thus, science proves at a point that it does help in safeguarding the heritage. So this way, we conclude with the lesson Discovering Tut, and the saga continues. So now where is Tut, ma'am? His tomb is there as a visitor spot, and then his mummy, his coffins, everything is kept in the museum for people to go and see. So what happens? We buy tickets now, we visit Egypt, and then we get to see King Tut's coffin, King Tut's golden tomb also. So moving forward, I'll just give you some reference picture for you to just look at few pictures of King Tut. See here, mummified Tut. See how beautiful it looks. Even the mat or the sheet where he's been kept, that is also completely with gold. Okay, everything so very, rich look he has. The next one being, once again, I call him the rich Tut. Can you see his necklace? Can you see his bracelet? Can you see everything? Everything is with gold, 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 and all the treasures. And then you see right now, where is he? He is in a tourist museum. They have kept him like this, and when we go, when we visit Egypt, and when we have to be a part of the tourist, then we get to see his tomb, which is kept as a museum. It is open for the public to view. You see all the mural paintings all over, and then how it is kept in a golden cage. Okay, so this is one reference. Moving to the next one, you see here there is some more pictures which say, I told you they used to praise sun disk. The picture is something like this. Probably this is a sun, with all the rays, and they pray. That was their god then. And then you see the tomb in Egypt looks just like this. Inside this is his body kept. The mummy of King Tut was kept inside this. And the next one is tombs surrounding. So how does it appear? It just looks like this in Egypt. Okay. Moving forward, few more last reference, few of the pictures of Howard Carter's discovery. Okay, just few pictures like how we got to see the tomb, okay, the underground tomb, and then how they carried the tomb, how they carried the mummy out of the tomb and for a CT scan and to investigate. And then you see there the investigation is on. So this is about few of the pictures. Have a look at it. I'll just go back to the slide also. You can see few, once again you can see the pictures. See, mummified Tut, the rich Tut, the tourist museum. I just named these, and then I've given you some more. So out of the textbook, I just gave you all some reference picture for you all to see, thinking that, somewhere, we will be interested to look more about King Tut. So with this, let me take you forward to the questions, to the kind of questions that you can expect. These are your short answer questions. Who was Howard Carter? Who was Howard Carter? What was his discovery? What method did he use to separate Tut from the coffin? And then what problem did Carter face when he reached the mummy of the King Tut? I told you the mummy was stuck there due to the raisins being hardened. Why did Tut's mummy undergo a CT scan? Why was the mummy taken for a CT scan? Then, what were the contents of the rich royal collection ever found? So, I had told you all few of the points, but while you read your textbook, you get to see more things which you can add on to your answer. So, what are the long answers which are for 6 marks? Who was King Tut? What do you know about him? Who is he? What is that you know about him? What did Howard Carter see in the burial chamber? What did he see in the burial chamber? Describe the King Tut's coffin and its contents. How did the King Tut's coffin look like? What were the contents? What did it have? Describe the suitability of the title, Discovering Tut, and the saga continues. The title, you have to discuss it. Okay? We find that science is helping the cause of culture. We find that science is helping the cause of culture. Will you be able to write an article? So you have to write an article. You can expect such kind of questions. So these are few of the questions that you can expect. Before I conclude today's session, let me tell you about mummification. I told you about the mummy. It's not our mother what we related to. It is the mummy means the dead body, how it goes through mummification and becomes the mummy. The term the mummy is after mummification of a dead body. So what is the procedure? The first one is, once a royal person is dead, what happens to his dead body? People wouldn't want to just bury it like that. They want to preserve it. So what happens? All the internal organs are removed. They are dried. They are completely dried and placed in canopic jar. It's a kind of jar, that's all. So they are kept in the canopic jars separately. Okay. Now, why do you think that this procedure happens? That's because once someone is dead, the dead body is buried, it gets decomposed, isn't it? Bacteria and worms start eating up the body and it is gone. So for that, to avoid that decomposition, what do? They remove all the organs. All the organs are removed and then it is kept aside. It is sun-dried for many days. It is sun-dried and it is kept in a special kind of jar. Now the body is without any organ. So the decomposition, the body will not decompose it so quickly. Now the body is safe not to get decomposed. So what is the next step? The next one is the heart. The heart has got its own value, isn't it? So that is placed back in the body. It is brought back and it is kept inside the body. And then the whole body is rinsed with wine and spices. It's not with soap and water that it gets washed. It is rinsed with wine and spices so that no infection will happen. So understand the procedure of mummification. Once the person is dead, the internal organs are removed, that is sun-dried separately, that is kept in the jar, and after that only the heart, because it has its own respect, it has its value, isn't it? That is brought back and kept, and the whole body is washed, it's rinsed with wine. It's rinsed with wine and spices. And then what is the third step? The corpse. What is the corpse? It is the dead body. It is covered with salt. It is covered with salt for 70 days so that all the worms, all the bacteria die. So it is covered with salt and it is kept for 70 days. And after 40 days, in this 70 days, after 40 days, the body is stuffed with linen. The body should have some shape, right? If you take out everything, it is completely flat. So to bring it back into some shape, it is filled, it is stuffed with linen and then or sand. They put sand or linen and then they get some human shape to the body. So that being the third step, the last step is after 70 days, head to toe is wrapped. It is wrapped with such thing. Can you see here? It is wrapped with the bandages and then placed in a coffin. Why is it wrapped like that? So it is tightly tied and the shape is maintained. So once when all the worms are removed and then once the body is preserved well, it is ready to get preserved, it is all band-aid. That is also with gold only for this king tooth and then it is kept in the coffin. Alright, so that is mummification. Anyways, mummification is not a part of your lesson. You will not get any question on what is mummification. I wanted you all to know what are mummies. Where are they? They are in Egypt. You get to see a lot of them. They are these tombs wherein very important people, very important person or a very important king, when he is dead, his body is mummified and it is kept in the tomb. Okay, so that is mummification. So to conclude today's session, I hope everything was clear. You have understood the lesson well. Please read the textbook. Before that, remember, history teaches us many things. History does teach us many things and thus it needs to be preserved. We should never forget what our history stands. We need to take the history along with it. We need to understand, we need to study, we need to know about our past. So remember, children, history teaches us many things and thus needs to be preserved. That's it for today. See you in my next session. I will be doing speech writing. Until then, all smiles to you. Bye-bye.